Welcome to another video, A Walk on the Wild Side, and I'm here in Blackpool. I'm currently sat in the van at the moment. I'm not going to be doing any walking in this video. I am going to be doing a lot of driving in this video, folks. If you want to see Blackpool, keep watching, because we're going to see quite a lot of Blackpool in this video, and maybe even beyond. You never know, because I'm going to be testing out a new dash cam. Yes, VIOFO have kindly sent me another dash cam. I did do a review of one, quite a few months ago actually. Yeah, I think it was spring or something like that. This is the new VIOFO A329 4K dash cam, and it actually can do 60 frames per second, and that's quite unique. I don't know if there's another dash cam out there that can record at 60 frames a second, but this one can. I think it's the first one that I know of that can do it. So what that means is that 60 frames a second means that you can slow down your footage a bit easier. You get smoother, silkier video, because most dash cams, in fact all dash cams, record usually at 25 or 30 frames a second, but this one can do up to 60 frames a second, and that just means that it's going to use a faster shutter speed, and you're going to get that silkier, smoother video, and it might just give you the edge as well if you want to try and capture a license plate or something like that you might not be able to capture if it was captured at a slower frame rate. You get a bit more blur on the slower frame rates. It uses Sony StarViz sensors. It uses Wi-Fi 6, which is a very fast Wi-Fi connection. You can connect your phone up to the dash cam, so if you need to go into the menu to change the settings for anything, you can do that via your phone. And I just want to show you another thing as well. Check it out. I have got an SSD here, a SanDisk SSD. You can use one of these. This dash cam can take up to a 0.5 terabyte micro SD card, which is huge. It's probably more than big enough for me. But if you're a professional driver, you might find that your dash cam will start to record over old footage after a couple of days or so, even if you've got like a really big card in it. So what you can do is you can actually hook up this dash cam to an SSD of up to 4 terabytes. So how about that? And by the way, if you want to dig into the dash cam, and if you want to look at its features, and if you want to look at a load of tests, I'm not really going to be doing that in this video. I'm just going to be driving around and telling you what I think. I'll tell you the good points, I'll tell you the not so good points. There's a channel from Canada, I think it is, Vortex Radar. I'll put his channel in the description. He's really good. He goes into he does all these tests, night tests and freeze frame and all that, and he's really, really good. So if you want to look at a more in-depth review of the dash cam, check out his channel. I'll put it in the description. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'm just going to talk about what I've got first, and then we're going to head out onto the road and we'll check out Blackpool, shall we, and maybe beyond. But you've seen the dash cam, you've seen the rear cam. I think I showed you the rear camera, didn't I, as well? That's the rear camera. It's a 2K rear camera. The resolution, I think, is 1440. A bit of a strange resolution, actually, yeah. A bit more than 1080. Most dash cams tend to be 1080p, which is just normal HD footage, which is, you know, it's usually more than adequate for most stuff. But when you've got a 4K dash cam on the front, on the head unit, then that's going to give you a bit of an edge. You know, it might just capture those things that the lesser resolution dash cams don't capture. Oh, by the way, just on the front there, you'll see there's I've got like an extra bit on the front. This is an extra, by the way. I've got a polarizing filter on there. The polarizing filter, it's something we use in photography, and it can help to cut out reflections. So on windows and on buildings, and what it tends to do is it tends to increase the contrast and make your colours much richer. So that's what the polarizing filter's for. It is an extra. To be quite honest, I'm not too sure if it's vital on a dash cam, but it's there if you want it. It's an optional extra. I did get all the extras with this dash cam, fortunately. They sent me all the extras, didn't they? And we've also got a polarizing filter for the rear dash cam as well. There you go. It's a funny shape, that one. The rear dash cam's got like a squarish lens on it. There's also a Bluetooth control here, remote control, which is quite handy. this is quite handy for saving videos. Now, the Dashcam does have voice activation. I'll show you a bit later. But you can also use this. Well, if you have that somewhere in the dashboard, you can just press that button and it'll save the current video. So that's what you can use the remote control for, and that is actually quite a good feature. I'll also show you the voice controls as well, because the voice control is very, very handy. But I'll just show you what else I've got. I've also got a hard wire kit. Now this is actually only really needed if you want to use the parking feature. Now it has a parking feature on this. The chap on the other video goes into detail about the parking feature, but what it is basically is when you leave your vehicle overnight, or you leave it in a car park or wherever, something like that, the parking feature will be alert for anyone, say, suspicious activity around your car, or if your car gets bumped by somebody while you're out and about. That's what the parking feature. I've never used the parking feature. I might use it on this one if I hardwire it up using the hardwire kit, but that's what the parking feature is for. It looks after your vehicle even when you're not there. So that's what that's for. Right, okay, so what else have we got? Well, we've got a data cable here. I believe that could be for the hard drive, to connect your hard drive into. Again, this is an extra. I'll put a link in the description to this Dashcam if you're interested. So we've got the cable to power it. Now, as well as that, we've also got this. This is a coaxial cable, and this is for the rear camera. And it's actually a bit slimmer than the USB cable that they use on some of the other models. So it makes it a little bit easier to put this cable in to route it through for your rear camera. And the coaxial cable will go into there on the Dashcam. So the Dashcam will go into your window like that. Obviously you want the camera to be facing forward, you don't want it facing towards you. So it'll go on like that. It'll have like a sticky, I've taken it off, there's like a bracket that goes on your window there with a sticky on it, and you slide it onto the bracket so you can take it on and off it quite easily. So you plug it in, and then your rear coaxial cable will go in there, and that will take it to the rear camera. So you got the rear covered as well. Now we've also got, these are quite interesting, these. Well, the static strips, what they are is a like little film. It's a film, yeah, and because this Dashcam, this is something that I don't like, it uses a sticker to go on your window. Now instead of sticking it straight to your window, you can actually use these I'm going to say anti-static, they're actually static strips. You put one of these on your window, and then you put the Dashcam sticky, the Dashcam holder on it, and that way you're not sticking it directly to your window. I think I would have probably preferred a suction cup, really, to be honest. But if you do have a bit of an accident with your stickies, they do give you some spare ones. So we've got some spare stickies in there. So there you go, yeah. So I think that's about it, really. I've just shown you everything. Okay, before we get on the road, I just want to quickly show you where I've got the Dashcam set up in my van here. I've got it to the left of my mirror. So this is my mirror, and it's out of the way of my line of sight. So there's nothing in the way over there, as you can see. And because it's on this side, it doesn't really matter too much, because I can use the voice commands to control it. So it's out of my way. It's also in a part of the windscreen that's covered by the wipers. The wipers come down somewhere around about there, so the camera is not looking through a part of the window which isn't covered by the window wipers. I've got the static strip behind. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I've got the static strip. So I've actually stuck the Dashcam onto its holder, which is on the static strip. And if you need to move it, you can do. But I'll just show you how you take it off. You can actually take the Dashcam off like that, you see, off the holder. And obviously I'd want to take off the coaxial cable. So if you wanted to take it off at night, if you didn't want to leave it in your vehicle overnight, you can take it off. So we'll just shove that back on there again, if I can get it back on. Right, so that's back on again there. So now what I'll do is I will plug the, if I go down here, I've got this cable. This is a power cable, and there's a cigarette lighter adapter there. And it's also got an extra Type-C USB. So if I plug that into there, and we look at the Dashcam, you'll see it starts to light up straight away.
Recording, 2 channels started.
So it's already started recording. as soon as you plugged it in. You don't need to tell it to start recording. It starts recording. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some voice commands and see how this works. So I'm going to say, take photo. So what it does there is it takes a still photo. There's other voice commands. Turn off screen. Turn on screen. Now the screen does actually go off automatically after 3 minutes. You can't leave the screen on. I think there's a couple of birds fighting down there. Did you see that? A crow and a seagull or something. I don't know what that was then. But there's some other useful voice commands as well. The most useful one for me is lock the video.
Video protected.
So there you go, that's actually quite a useful function, because you notice how those birds were fighting then, just in front of the couple of birds scrapping. Well, that's something that a dash cam would not normally protect, because normally it would you'd have to crash into something or for someone to bump into you. But that's quite handy, because like I say, if there's something that doesn't normally trigger the dash cam and you want to save the video, that's all you have to do. There's another function as well for using the menu. Turn on Wi-Fi. So there you go, you see the Wi-Fi symbol comes on, and now you can connect your phone up to the, it always says, lets you know when the function has worked on the voice command. So there you go, let's have a little look at how I've set the dash cam up. It's now time to get on the road and have a drive around Blackpool. Okay, here we go, we're finally on the road here in Blackpool. We're in the town centre. And we're going to give a good test of the dash cam now as I drive around the streets. You might get to see some areas that you've never seen on the channel before. But this is quite a familiar area as we go past Cleveleys. Cleveleys is very familiar. I'm never away from this part of town, am I? We'll just let this person cross the road and I'll show you the rear camera when I go past. There you go, there's a look at the rear camera there. So the rear camera is not as detailed. It's angled down a little bit actually. It is angled down, so bear with me, the rear camera is angled down a little bit. I would have liked it to be a little bit further up, you know, but never mind. If you look at the bottom left, that's the speed, and then we've also got the coordinates, and down the bottom of the screen we've got the model number. On the bottom right on the screen we've got the resolution 4K 60, and we've got the date. 27th of November was when I was filming this at around about 2:25 in the afternoon, as we come down to Blackpool Promenade. Now we're not going to see Blackpool Tower in this video because I'm heading north. If you want to see a bit more of the main part of Blackpool, you might want to check out the last video I did on the A329 dash cam. But we can actually get a little look at Blackpool Tower. If we look in the reverse, let's have a little look at the rear camera. There you go, as the tram goes past. That's a little look at Blackpool Tower, but we are heading north along Blackpool Promenade. We're just going past these big hotels, the Tiffany's and the Claremont Hotel there. Massive hotels here in Blackpool. I'm going up a bit of a gradient at the moment. I'll just show you the menu. So this is got the app here, and then when you go on the app you come up with this screen, connect camera. When you connect the camera, it shows you a live picture of what the dash cam can see, and if you click the cog at the bottom right, down there at the bottom right, it brings up the menu, and in the menu there's loads and loads of settings you can choose from. The video resolution, which we're in now, 4K 60 is the top one. That's what I'm using now. You can go down to 4K 30. That's half the frame rate. You can also go down to 2K, which is half the resolution. Well, probably a bit less than half the. I'm not really sure actually, but it's the same as the rear camera. But I'm just going to have it in the top setting for this video. Loop recording is the clip length, so each clip is recorded at a certain length from 1 minute to 10 minutes, and I leave it in 5 minutes because I think 5 minutes is a decent length for a clip, you know. So that you can mess around with that to your heart's content. But anyway, you know what? The views today are absolutely, just look how clear it is. You know, I've been waiting such a long time for a nice clear day to do this video. We were stuck in gloom for so long, but my goodness, the view from here today is so clear. I can see the Lake District. I'm heading down this road, which is called Wilshire Road. It's just down the side, or should I say down the side of the Savoy Hotel. And I'm turning now onto Homefield Road. We're heading north. Lots of hotels and guest houses around this area of Blackpool. Some very, very big properties up here as we carry on, and we are going uphill a little bit. I don't know if you can tell, we're going up a little bit of a gradient as we head north along Homefield Road. Where will we get to in this video? Well, and don't forget, I will be doing a night test a bit later on in the video, but if you want to review a video, you bring up the app, and this is how the videos look on the app. You can scan through them like this on your phone, and if you click on one, you can download it. There's some videos on there that I've done at night as well, as you can see, but this is how you can review the videos. You can watch them on your phone, or you can just download them to your phone if you want them. So it just so easy to use. But as we carry on up here, I think I'm going to take a right here. Yeah, let's take a right here, shall we? Because this is onto Knowle Avenue now. Now look at that. Can you see that straight ahead? That's the water tower. It's the highest natural point of Blackpool. Yeah, as we turn onto Knowle Avenue. Knowle Avenue. Knowle is actually named after the hill which the water tower sits on, Knowle Hill. And I'm now turning left onto Warbreck Drive. So we're now onto Warbreck Drive, and we're still heading north, but I'm going to take another left here, and this road is called Shaftesbury Avenue. I think they've got a Shaftesbury Avenue in London. Isn't that Shaftesbury Avenue in the West End? Well, it's not quite the same here, but it is quite a nice part of Blackpool up here. We're in the FY2 postcode, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head back towards the promenade again. So we're heading back towards the promenade. I'll keep talking to you about the dash cam as we go along. We're coming out here at the Sheraton Hotel on the left, and on the right hand side we've got the Genting Club Casino, formerly the Castle Casino because it's shaped a bit like a castle. That's the cabin lift over there, if you can see it, the cabin lift, the Victorian cabin lift. If you look behind, you can see it on the top right hand side there. It's a lift that goes down to the lower promenade. So I'll just show you a bit more of the menu as we head north along Blackpool Promenade now. You can change around the exposure of the camera. You can make it brighter or dimmer using this feature here. I don't tend to use that, but there may be situations where that could be useful. HDR is another function as well. You can't use HDR in 60 frames a second mode though. You have to be in 30 frames a second mode. The G sensor, I think, is the sensitivity of the dash cam to record if someone hits you or a bump or something like that, and then it would record the video, it would save the video. The bit rate that we're looking at now, I'm using maximum quality, which means it doesn't compress the video as much, which means you get very big file sizes. If you save at a low bit rate, the quality is probably not going to be as good. You get smaller file sizes and more video. I'm going to keep it in the maximum bit rate. To be quite honest, I didn't really notice a whole lot of difference between the maximum and the low bit rate. But this is a menu. As you can see, there's loads and loads of features on here. Time zone, date format, you can change all that around. We've got video storage here. You can choose between SSD or the little card that you put in the unit. I'm using a 64 gigabyte card. So these are all the settings. I won't go into too much detail about. I'll just kind of skip over these. As you see, there's loads and loads of features that you can use. Just going through them all now. Format, you can format the card. And down there you've got the version. So anyway, we're just about to make a right turn now onto Red Bank Road. And this is very popular actually, because whenever you go through the illuminations in Blackpool, a lot of people, they like to stop off here at Red Bank Road because we've got very popular restaurants there. We've got the Bispham Kitchen, we've got the Top Chippy, there's loads of places. It's a great place to shop in Blackpool, this Red Bank Road. It just about marks the end of the illuminations. Most people drive through the illuminations from south to north, so we've just come off there now and we're heading east along Red Bank Road. As you can see, there's loads and loads of shops down here. We've got a big Sainsbury's as well. There you go, there's a Sainsbury's. The light is really nice today. It is really, really nice. So we'll carry on along here. Just up on the left hand side, we've now got the fire station. Look, they've got their own fire station up here, look, yeah. There you go, and we're getting into some fairly big properties up here as well, because it's quite a nice part of Blackpool up here, you know. And there are, you'll notice as we get up here now, that the properties tend to get a little bit bigger. There's a bit more space. We're coming up to a major junction now. So we've got a mini roundabout here. This is Bisping Village, by the way. This is called Bisping Village. So we're going to take a left here and we're going to carry on north along Devonshire Road. It's like the main road that goes all the way up to Fleetwood. So this road here will take us all the way to Fleetwood if we so wish. We're going to go past that garage there on the right. We've got some nice Art Deco houses on the left there. If I look in the rear camera, there's a nice Mark 1 Fiesta there. Look at that there. That's a nice classic car, isn't it? Anyway, I've just turned there. I've just speeded this bit up a little bit just to move it along. So I've just made a turn and I'll just speed it up a little bit until we come out onto the promenade. So we're just coming out here now, back onto the promenade again, and we're here at the Norbreck Castle. The Norbreck Castle. Who stayed at the Norbreck Castle? It's, yeah, it gets a lot of stick, the Norbreck Castle. It's the Britannia Hotel. Let's have a little nosy in here, shall we? Not many cars in the car park, is there? Look at that. Is there anybody here staying here at the Norbreck Castle? It's a huge hotel. But there's not many people in, there's not many cars in the car park, is there? There used to be a petrol station over there as well, you know, in that space straight ahead now. There used to be a petrol station there, that was decades ago. But this is the Norbreck Castle, massive hotel. Started off as the Norbreck Hydro, and it was a very swanky hotel, hydro, you know, hydro as in hydrotherapy, water, baths and all that sort of thing, and it was a very, very swanky hotel when it first opened in the mid 19th century. Here's a little look behind. Yeah, the camera is angled down a little bit. It does catch most of the stuff, but ideally I would have adjusted it up a little bit, but never mind. We're back onto the road again, back onto sunny Blackpool Promenade. I'll just speed this a little bit up. We're going to head towards Cleveleys now. So I'm just speeding this bit up a little bit. You can see the time's moving on. Look at the time now. It's now 3:05. The sun's getting a little bit lower down. If you stick with us, we will get to the night driving a little bit later. But for now, we're heading into Cleveleys, and I'm about to turn right here. I'm going to take a right turn. And this this road here is called Anchor's Home Lane. So I have to cross. I always feel a bit jumpy crossing the tram tracks there, because you have to go across the tram tracks, don't you? So we're now heading down Anchor's Home Lane East. So I'll try and tell you all the roads if I can. I'm not really that familiar with this part of town, but I'll do my best. Here's a look towards the back. And now we're back at the front again. Keep going along here a bit. We're getting to see a little bit of Cleveleys, or the Cleveleys area. I'm just turning now onto this road here. I'm not too sure what this road is, to be quite honest. I think it's I think this is called South Parade, but I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I'll try and tell you the name of each road. We're just coming down to another junction now. Now this road here I believe is called Leith Avenue, Leith, Leith Avenue. We're almost driving into the sun now. You know, it can't be too far from sunset now. So if you stick with us, I will be doing a drive at night a bit later on. Let me know what you think of the quality of the dash cam. Obviously I'll put all the details in the description. If you're interested in checking one out for yourself, I'll put the details in the description. They may have an offer on as well, so check that out and see what you think. Let's have a little look towards the back again, shall we? There you go. So we're now on to, I believe this is St George's Avenue, and we're heading back, well, we're heading towards the main road now. Now this road we're coming towards now is called Victoria Road West, and it's the main road that goes through Cleveleys. It's the main shopping road, Victoria Road West. So I'm going to head on to here now, when someone lets me go there you go. So this is Victoria Road West, and we're heading down here. They've even got a Wetherspoons down here on the right hand side. It's called the Jolly Tars. I actually went in there not too long ago, the Jolly Tars, for the first time. Yeah, so this is Victoria Road West, so we're going to head up here. We're heading eastbound now. The light is getting even better as the sun goes down. Got a couple of pubs. We've got one called the, I didn't quite catch the name of that. This one here with the red brick building is called the Victoria, and it's been shut for a long time, and unfortunately they can't find anyone to run it, which is a bit of a shame because it's a nice pub. But we've now turned onto a road called North Drive, and we're heading north again. North on North Drive, and now it looks like I'm turning right again. I think this is Birch Avenue, is it? I don't know, I'm not too sure. Gotta wait for this car to come along. So, right, we can now head north again. I'm showing you, I'm trying to see if I can show you the posh bits, because there are some very swanky parts of Cleveleys, you know. It's quite leafy around here. It's certainly quite leafy around here compared to Blackpool. There's a little bit more space around. So as I head along Birch Avenue, I'm going to come up to a road called Homefield Avenue, I believe. And there's actually a duck pond up here. You see where these trees are? Well, behind those trees is a duck pond. I don't think we're going to be able to see it on the dash cam, but this is actually a very, very swanky area of Cleveleys. I have to say, it is very, very leafy around it. Look at this, look. Can you see the way they've got all the bushes trimmed? Look at that tree there, look. This is what I mean. It's like Millionaires Row around here as I come along Homefield Avenue, and I'm going to come back out onto the main road, Victoria Road West, and I'm now, when I let the traffic go, I'm going to turn left, hopefully. Very, very busy road. But yeah, the properties along here now, as we come this way, can you see how the gardens are much bigger now? We've got much bigger gardens, we've got more trees, there's more greenery around, we've got grass verges. It's a much more spacious properties up here. Very, very, I would say quite expensive, really. Yeah, very, very expensive. More expensive than Blackpool, I think, yeah, I'd say. But we're now coming up to a very, very major roundabout, and this connects a mountainous way. It's like the main link road for Fleetwood, you know, to go to Fleetwood and the motorway. So we're going to head, we're actually going to turn right, and I'm now, well, we're going to be going to the nighttime mode now, so stay tuned. Nighttime test is coming up. But I'm now just turning around you can see how low the sun is now. Look, there's a little bit of flare when you go into the sun, but it's not too bad. But ideally, when you drive into the sun, it can be a little bit blinding, you know. But anyway, get ready for the nighttime test. Here we go.
Recording. 2 channels started.
Right, okay, so it's now 18:35. If you look down at the bottom right-hand side, you can see we've got 18:35. We're now pitch black. We're in the town centre. I'm currently on George Street, and I'm going to turn left onto Grosvenor Street. That's the big DWP building that you can see all lit up there. They leave the lights on there all the time, even there's no one even there. And we've got some guy on a scooter here dressed all in black. Can you see that there? Look at it. He must have a death wish, this fella. And you know what? There's a police van in front. It's just gone past the police van, and the police, they're not batting an eyelid. Look at that there. The guy's just gone past them. I bet you if those lights hadn't changed to green, he'd have just gone straight through on red, wouldn't he? And the police, look at them. Look, they're not bothered. So we'll carry on down Grosvenor Street. We're coming down to Church Street, which is a major street in Blackpool. It goes right through the town centre. This is the junction here. So how does it look at night? Well, you can certainly see things. It probably looks a bit grainy. I'm just about to get past this fella on his scooter, look. So let's get past him there. Right, so we're past him now. So, yeah, we're still in the same mode, 60 frames a second. Now, what I want to do a little bit later on is show you the HDR mode. Now, the HDR mode is not available in 60 frames a second. But I do think that if you do a lot of driving at night, I would probably recommend that you use the HDR mode and you drop your frame rate back to 30 frames a second, because if you see a little bit later on, I'll show you, if you stick with us, I'll show you that I do think that the HDR mode is better at night. What the HDR mode does is it balances the light parts and the dark parts, and it makes everything more even. We're heading along Central Drive here in Blackpool, a very well-known part of Blackpool. I've covered it many times on the channel. Lots of shops, quite a lot of lights. Have to go over these ramps as well, yeah. But yeah, if you stick with us a little bit longer, I'll show you the, before we finish, I'll show you the HDR mode. I'll show you an example of the HDR mode. But if you want to see a little bit more detail, there is that other channel that I spoke about, you know, the Vortex Radar. He goes into much more detail than I do, and he does side-by-side tests, which I can't really do. He seems to know a bit more about dash cams, seems to be a bit of an expert, so I advise you watch his channel. But as I head off Central Drive and now onto Grasmere Road, we have got 30 frames a second HDR mode coming up, so we'll be able to see what it looks like in HDR mode. So let's see how that goes, shall we?
Recording. 2 channels started.
Right, okay, so I've just nipped into McDonald's and we're now in 4K HDR. If you look at the bottom of the screen, in fact, I've just gone onto the rear camera. On the rear camera is HDR. I think the rear camera is always HDR. It's not as high resolution, but can you see how it says HDR? That means the rear camera is recording at HDR. But we're also recording at HDR on the front camera, as you can see there. And I actually do think that the HDR is probably better to use than the 60 frames a second at night. And I'll just show you a little example. As we come up to the junction now, can you see that car there, the number plate? If you look at the number plate on that car, my headlights are shining right at that car there, and we can read the number plate quite clearly. Can you see that, yeah? But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a 60 frames a second, non-HDR. Can you see this now? That car there, how the number plate's all blown out. Well, if that was in HDR mode, I think we would be able to see the number plate a lot easier. And this is what I mean about the the HDR mode, I do think I am quite impressed with it, and I do think that despite this Dashcam being able to do 60 frames a second, I think personally, if you do a lot of driving at night, then it might be better if you just put your Dashcam into 30 frames a second HDR. Oh, look at this, we've got blue lights. Oh, we've got a police car. It's kicking off in Blackpool. There it goes. Let's have a look at the back there. There you go. Isn't it great when you can look at the back? You know, you see something go past and then you can think, oh no, admit, if you just got a front-facing Dashcam, that's it. That's all you can see the front. But then with a rear one, you can see what's going at the back. You can even see people doing all kinds of things as they sat at the track, like picking the nose and stuff like that. I won't show any of that, but see people staring at the phones as well, you know, and they're doing naughty things. We're just going past the Saddle on Whitegate Drive there. We've just gone past the Saddle, Blackpool's oldest pub, and you see the petrol station there, the Tesco petrol station. That's where the tram sheds used to be, just around the back of that petrol station there, the old tram sheds. Yeah, the trams used to come down here, yeah, in the olden days. I think it was till about 1966, I think, when they stopped the trams coming down. I'll fast forward it now to the town centre. We're now back in the town centre again, and we're currently on Cookson Street. You might see some lights flashing. Well, you see, the thing is, though, is that when you're using a frame rate of 30 frames a second or 60 frames a second, I think you're more likely to get flickering in the UK, because the refresh rates of LEDs tend to work at 50 hertz. So if you're using, on this Dashcam, it does appear to be kind of made for the American market in a way with the frame rate. It doesn't matter, it's not a big deal really, but if it was 25 frames a second and 50 frames a second rather than 30 frames a second and 60, I think we'd probably have a bit less LED flicker. But we're back in the town again now, and we're now back almost where I started, back onto Talbot Road here. This is where we started the daytime footage, and we're now seeing the nighttime footage, and we're using the 30 frames a second HDR mode as we watch a tram pull out of the North Station tram stop there. We waited so long for this, for the tram line to be built there to go into the North Station there, because we've had Blackpool trams going up and down the promenade since they stopped them. I was just talking about them before on Whitegate Drive, that they stopped the trams in around about the mid-60s, and they were confined then to the promenade. And this is the first time now that we've seen trams coming off the promenade. As we go past Mark Ellis again, always interesting outside Mark Ellis. Lots of you always get some characters there. We're seeing all the colours now. What do you think of the colour? I think the colours look quite good actually, and I do think that if I was using the 60 frames a second mode, non-HDR, a lot of these highlights would be blown out. You know how I showed that car before, how the number plate was blown out by my headlights? Well, that's what I mean. In the HDR mode, which we're in now, it balances out the highlights and the shade. So you get the highlights and the shade, the black parts, the dark parts, are more even. It makes them more even. And as we come up here now, we're just onto Queen Street now, we're walkabout there. I think that looks pretty good. I do think that the picture there is actually pretty good. So I'm just reversing up now. Here's a little look at the back. So there you go. I'm just going to park up here now. Just zooming in a little bit there. Thought I'd just give you a little bit of a zoom in. Yeah, just to show you the good detail. You know, that's the thing, you see, with a 4K Dashcam, you can actually crop in. You can crop right in and still get lots of detail. Whereas if it's a 1080p one, a standard HD Dashcam, when you do crop in like I just did then, it's going to get a little bit pixelated. But this Dashcam, you can crop in quite a bit because it's 4K. And don't forget, you've got the 60 frames a second as well. Now, I am actually just going to show you some additional footage which I shot after a firmware upgrade, which I think corrects some of those overexposure issues that we could see before in the 60 frames a second mode. Remember when I showed you when it blew out the number plate on that car? Well, this is after the firmware upgrade, and I think that you'll see now you can read the number plate on that taxi there ahead, and this firmware upgrade I think corrects that overexposure. So the 60 frames a second mode at night might actually be okay with the firmware upgrade. I'll just show you another example now. So we've got another one here. Remember, it was blowing out the license plate before, wasn't it? But it doesn't seem to be doing it now. So it looks like they've actually fixed that with the firmware upgrade. But you've still got a choice of the 60 frames a second and the 30 frames a second HDR. It's really up to you. There's loads and loads of features on the Dashcam. All the details will be in the description and any offers that are available. I'm going to leave you now with a drive up and down the Blackpool promenade. We get to see some of the sights here. So there you go, that's it for this video. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button and also hit subscribe and tick the bell for notifications of new videos. And I'll see you again on the next one.